Okay, my dowsing friends, we are back. We just did our energy exchange video where we found that the energy we would most benefit from releasing today was that of greed. Whew. And then the new energy we were going to call in its place was trust. When greed first came up, admittedly, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder where this is going. And then trust came in and I was like, okay. Is it that we've been in the energy of greed, of wanting, of desiring, because we have been lacking trust? We don't trust that we'll just be taken care of, so we desire, we want, we yearn. We don't trust that we have everything we could possibly need, that we're actually okay. And so we greed, we want, we desire. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the root story of this greed, maybe what started it. Where did it begin? Is there another energy that is actually deeper than the greed itself that is fueling that surface greed? And then we're going to look at any blocks we might have to truly experiencing this trust in ourselves, trust in the universe. Whatever that may be, we're going to find out as the story unfolds. And if you've ever seen my videos before, you know that that's what this is. This is a story that unfolds. And as the story unfolds, every step of the way, every layer, we get to do a little bit more thoughtful healing. We get to do a little bit more intentional release. We get to do some reprogramming statements, our ability to say out loud, to use the power of our words to reframe the way we're thinking, to shift hopefully then how we're feeling. And if we shift how we're feeling and how we think, then we get to shift how we act and our behaviors change. And when our behaviors change, when we take accountability and responsibility for our behaviors, then our life changes. Good things start coming our way, whatever good means to you. There's no judgment there, and what is good or bad? Good or bad is different for everyone. It's subjective. But it means that we start to feel like we have a little bit more control over our own lives, and we can stop doing some of the things that haven't been serving us. We get to have that sort of awareness about our actions, and when you have awareness about your actions, you have a lot more ability to control them. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take our dowsing pendulum and we're going to take our dowsing charts and we're going to say, what is the root story of this greed? What do you want us to know about this greed to help us release this greed once and for all, or to help us reframe it in a way that is in our highest good, or whatever the case may be? We're going to find out. Again, we're going to find out what the story is. And we usually start with the negative energy and then we move into, clearing anything out of the way that is preventing us from really owning and embracing and embodying the new energy. So let's get started. I've prepped to work. I've really got myself centered, and we're going to get started. So we're going to go to our first chart, our index chart, our guide, our GPS, and we're going to say, show us the root story of this greed. Is this 2 or 3? Chart 2. Interesting. So we're going to go to chart 2. This is called Themes, Challenges, and Soul Qualities. Again, control and power. Well, that's interesting because I was talking about how if we have control over our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, we then get to control our behaviors. We get to have more power. We are empowered when we have control over ourselves. But greed is an energy that controls us. We don't control it. Greed is almost like an entity. It's a separate entity. I see it in my mind anyway, as a separate entity that has control over you. And for those of you who have a shopping addiction, for those of you who can't seem to control, what you want and how unsatisfied you feel with what you have, for those of you who feel like you just cannot consume enough, or for those of you potentially who use consumption as a method to soothe your own inner unhappiness, that is, again, an entity outside of yourself. And you can, sometimes I mean entity in a spiritual sense, like an actual thing, like an actual spiritual thing, a spiritual thing outside of you. And I also just mean like an energy, this outside energy that has taken you over, that is sort of parasitic. Greed is parasitic. And I want to differentiate this kind of greed from appropriate level of desire, an appropriate level of want, because there is that too. But greed is like next level. So, releasing all of us from the control that this greed has over us. And you can say that with me right now. I release myself from the power and control that greed has over me. I divorce myself from the entity that is greed. Let out a good exhale. I divorce myself from the entity that is greed, and I call in a protective bubble around myself so that that entity can never have its way with me again. Again, let out a good exhale. Really be thinking about this, okay? I want you to be doing your best as we go through this, to be settled and quiet and in meditation, and really be calling in some visualizations and to be setting your intention as I say these words. If you're in a place where you can't say these words with me, at least be having the intention of your heart to say, yes, this is what I want for me as well. Those words that Kate are saying, those are my words as well. Whether you can say them in your mind or out loud, whatever it is, but just be setting your intention with me right now. Okay, so I'm going to ask a yes or no question. So this is my no, and then this would be a yes. So yes or no, is there more you want me to explore when it comes to this energy of greed? So that's a yes. Okay, so now let's go back to our chart, our first chart, and say, what else do you want us to know about this energy, this entity that is greed? So now we're going to chart 8B. Which is called Other Archetypes. Other Archetypes programmed before creation, programmed before we even got here. Ooh, the wisdom of Jesus just came up. Wisdom which is represented by the archetype or symbolism of Jesus. He was known to be just so obviously wise, as that word just came up, but being able to share parables, symbolism, stories to help people go, whoa, I get what this guy is saying and I want to follow him, because what he is saying makes so much sense and feels so reasonable. He didn't speak of shame. He didn't speak of guilt. He spoke of love. He spoke of acceptance. He said things in such a way to make people, have their eyes open and their minds blown. So what percent are we blocked to our own wisdom? 100%. Okay, so we've been blocked to our wisdom, which is why this greed was even able to take hold in the first place, right? If we had been able to stand fully in our wisdom, this greed would never have been able to, latch onto us, to hook onto us. But unfortunately, we've been blocked to our wisdom. Okay, so is there anything we can do to help unblock us to our wisdom? What is the block, or how can you just help me know how to assist us in unblocking ourselves? So what's been blocking us to our wisdom? Greed. How is it possible that greed just came up again on a different chart, by the way? This is not the same chart. Wow, what this says to me is like it's a feedback loop. You had the greed, then that greed is blocking you to your wisdom. You're blocked to your wisdom, so you have more greed. And for a lot of us, we know what the avalanche of greed feels like. Again, it is why there are people out there who have an infinite amount of money, so much money that they could never spend it all in their whole lifetime, and they still want more. It is an avalanche. The greed blocking the wisdom, blocked wisdom leading to more greed blocking us even more to our wisdom, and over and over and over again. Let out a good exhale. We're done. All I can say, the only thing that came into my heart right now is just like, no, we're done. We're done with greed. We're done with the avalanche of greed. We're done with the cycle of greed blocking our wisdom, leading to more greed, blocking more of our wisdom. I'm done. You can say that with me right now. I'm done. I'm done allowing greed to block my wisdom. I'm done being stuck in the cycle of greed. I'm done feeling like I'm going down the drain of greed. I'm done being under the control of greed. Say that again. I'm done being under the control of greed. And I open myself back up to my wisdom now. I'm done being under the control of greed, and I open myself up to my wisdom now. Okay, anything else you want me to look at when it comes to this greed? See, now I'm getting a no. So we've done our exploration into the root of this greed. Makes sense, right? Beautiful. So now we're going to look at the trust factor. What is stopping us from receiving the kind of trust that would then stop that cycle of greed, right? So trust, in my mind, is the thing that's going to stop the cycle of greed. It is going to be, the giant that stands there in front of the entity of greed and says, you shall not pass. You shall not pass. Do not cross go. Do not collect $200. You're done. You're done. And I want to say to folks, like, when I first started doing Reiki and I first started doing this work, I was extremely timid and not a lot was happening, right? Not a lot was moving because I was really timid. And even when I was just practicing on myself, I was timid. I would do Reiki on myself. Let's say I would have a stomach ache and I'd be doing Reiki on myself and I'd be like, is it okay for me to do this Reiki? Like, I don't know, like just very, very timid. And then one day I was traveling and I think I didn't have like my medications on me and I had the worst stomach ache of my life. And I started doing Reiki on myself and all of a sudden I just got like angry with it. I got angry, I got motivated, I got firm with the stomach ache. And I was like, and I literally said out loud with my whole chest, with my whole voice, no, I'm done. You're out of here. You're done. You're out of here. And when I tell you that within 30 seconds, my stomach ache was gone, I cast it out of me is all that I can think to say. And then from that point forward, I stopped being so nice in my energy work. I stopped being so nice with my SRT. I started being more demanding. You can be demanding. You can be demanding with your intention. You can be demanding with what you're done with. Be done, and be demanding about it. And please allow this to apply to any area of your life. Be done with that relationship. Be done with that job that is abusive and feels like you go into work every day and it's like a abusive relationship. Be done. Just be done, and be done in a big, strong, not so friendly way. That's my advice for you today. Okay, so we're going to look at any blocks we may have to our guardian of trust, stopping this cycle of greed. Okay, so what percent are we open now to our trust? We're not open at all. That's my 0. Okay, and then what percent are we blocked to trust? Oh, that's 100% blocked. Okay, so what can we do to really resolve this, to just be fully open and unblocked to our trust? Okay, so what do we got going on here on our chart 17? Unwillingness to cooperate with our higher self. I love this. Your higher self is your guardian. Your higher self is the thing that will stop you from cycling in the spiral of greed. Your higher self is the thing that will protect you from entities. Your higher self is your wisdom. Your higher self is your trust. I feel like I could stop this clearing right now. We could just be done. We could just be done. Your higher self. Oh, why are we not listening to our higher selves? Sorry. I've had more coffee today than I probably should have had already. Okay, why? What's going on with this block? Why are we not listening to our higher selves? Why are we not listening to our higher selves? Why are we not? Oh, interesting. Responsibility. We're not taking responsibility because if we listen to our higher self, we have to take responsibility for what it tells us. Ooh, you know who you are. You know who you are. You know who you are. You're like, yeah, I've heard the voice of my higher self. I've heard the call of my higher self. I've heard the whisperings and I've heard the shouts of my higher self. But I know that if I listen to my higher self, I have to take some really hard, painful, challenging action. Take responsibility. I have to take responsibility, and I don't want to do that. That sucks. Okay, well then you can still be stuck in the cycles of greed. You can have no money. You can be deeply in debt. You can be having a shopping addiction. You can be stuck in the energy of desire. Whatever that desire is, that greed doesn't just have to be about money. This greed can be greed for people, greed for relationships. You could be greedy for relationships and connections that are not serving you, that are not in your highest good, but you're in the energy of greed because you aren't listening to yourself. You aren't listening to what you actually need. You aren't listening to what will actually heal you. None of that. What do we need to do to not be so afraid of responsibility? What do we need to do to not be so darn afraid of responsibility? What do we need to do? Okay, so we need to clear some negative energies out of the way. Okay, what negative energies do we need to clear out of the way to help us not be so afraid of responsibility? Insanity. Yeah, it's literal insanity. It's literal insanity to not listen to yourself. So we're clearing the energy of insanity away from all of our minds, hearts, bodies, spirit, soul right now, because that's literally what it is. We're clearing hate. We are clearing lying. We're lying to ourselves, y'all. We are clearing insanity, lying, and hate from all of us right now. Take a deep exhale and allow yourself to just blow those energies out of your orbit. Hi, yeah, I don't want it. I don't need it. It's not mine. That's my mantra. Anytime I'm trying to release myself from something, I don't want this. I don't need this. It's not mine. I don't want the hate. I don't want the lying. I don't want the insanity. Those are not things that I want in my life. And I release myself from those things now so that I can hear my inner self, that I can hear that higher calling, that I can hear my wisdom. You are not a lost cause. I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but I just heard really strongly, you are not a lost cause. You have been denying your inner guidance. You've been denying your wisdom for so long, you think you are a lost cause. You're not. You're not. You can start today. You can start right this very moment. You don't even have to wait for the sun to go down and for you to have a fresh start to your day, because I know a lot of us do that crap, right? We're like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. No, you can start right now listening to your higher self. Do the thing right now that your higher self is calling you to do, whatever that is, whatever that is. Okay, what else? What else we got to do to get really clear in this trust, to be able to truly, once and for all, trust ourselves? All right, we're going up to one of our higher charts, which we don't get all that often. Clearing the void. Clearing the void, crossing everything off the list. Any final thing that needs to be done to clear this out of the way. That's what this is saying. It's like clear everything. Clear every tiny little nook. Clear every little dark space, every corner, every closet. Check everything off the list that can possibly be checked off the list. And this is when we're this is the moment of crying out for help, right? This is the moment of saying, I surrender. I surrender it all. Please just clear it all out of the way. I'm willing to be changed. I'm willing to be transformed. I'm willing to tap into my higher self. I'm willing to start listening. I'm willing to take responsibility. If you, whoever you are, spirits, guides, ancestors, higher self, the universe, spirit, again, all that is, if you will help me clear some of this stuff out of the way, I will then do my part and take my responsibility. Okay, so now what percent are we open to trust? That's 100%. And now what percent are we blocked to trust? Okay, we're still blocked. So we're gonna continue to go here. So how do we clear out these blocks to trust? What's blocking us to our trust? How do we clear it out of the way? All right, so is this 13 or 29? Chart 13. Okay, programs before creation. Programs before creation. Is this fire planet energy? Oh, desire for transformation. So fire planet energy can be a couple of things. Fire planet energy could be there's a version of us that is off somewhere in the realms, right? There is a part of our essence. We exist on so many planes, you guys. We exist on so many levels and so many layers. Our current little bit of awareness is dropped in right here on planet Earth in this timeline. But there is a version of us that has existed across all of time, all of space, all of creation. There are so many parallels happening all at the same time. And there's a version of us that is off somewhere else, doing something else, right? We're off, we think we're supposed to be off creating planets and worlds and universes. So we're not here. Basically what this is saying is like, we're not actually here. We've allowed our life force, we've allowed our energy to be off into these other realms, off in these other planes, creating these other universes. Bravo, we think we're doing this great job, but really what's happening is that is also blocking us from being right here, right now, in the energy of trust of what's happening here. In our own way, it's our desire to escape. In our own way, it is our lack of responsibility for being here right now. So we call our energy back into this awareness right now. We call our energy back onto this plane, to this parallel, to this timeline. Ooh, I know for a lot of you, you're like, no. Whether you're thinking this consciously or in your heart, you're like, no, I don't want to be in this timeline, in this plane, in this parallel. Maybe you allowed yourself to go off into another plane and another parallel because this life was really hard for you. And you don't trust what's happening here. You don't trust this experience. You don't trust what it's like being a human. You want to be off being a god, creating fire planets and other universes, because that's more fun, right? So your awareness is off over there, totally lacking trust in what's supposed to be happening here in this human realm. And we are supposed to be here in this human realm having this experience because it is a part of this awareness's journey, this soul's experience. And I know it's hard being here sometimes. And that's also what's fueling the greed. I'm sure it's like, well, if I gotta be in this human form, let me just consume all the good things and have all the good experiences and not give a rip. You know, not care about what all of my overconsumption does to the world, not care about what, you know, lacking in appreciation for what I have is doing to the world around me. Your lack of appreciation for what you have is having a negative impact on the world around you, whether you recognize it or not. We're so blind to it. We are so blind to it, but it's happening. So again, we call all of our energy back onto this awareness now. We call all of our energy back onto this planet now. We call all of our energy back onto this parallel, this plane, this existence, and trust that it's going to be okay here, and we can go back off to our fire planet creation later. We can go back off to being the gods and the goddesses later, but right now, you're being called to be human. I know, whether you like it or not, you're being called to be human right now. So let's draw all of that energy back here. Now what percent are we blocked to our trust? Now what percent are we blocked to trust? 0%. Well, we just needed to do that for whatever reason. I know it's weird. I know it's weird. And you're like, Kate, what the heck are you doing? I don't know if I trust you anymore. Speaking of trust, because that's weird, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're doing 100% of 100% a mop up. We're going to find our replacement energies. We know we're calling in trust, but what else are we calling in today? We're calling in honesty. We're calling in hope. We are calling in self-honesty. Wow, interesting. That's sobriety, is like being able to be truthful with yourself. We're calling in understanding. Ooh, and we're dropping back into this moment. Finding ourselves right here, right now, not worrying about the past or thinking about the future, releasing self-judgment, releasing self-hate, releasing self-punishment because all of a sudden Kate has just made us look at some stuff that we'd rather not look at. Taking another good exhale. Accepting that we are human, that we are flawed, and we can take responsibility and accountability for our lives and do some amazing things with them. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful for you in some way. If you'd like to learn more, visit me at www.thepointedstone.com or purchase pendulums, clearing, charts, all sorts of things on my Etsy shop, www.thepointedstone.etsy.com. Thanks for being here, everybody, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.